What drives individuals to public service in this era of polarized politics and diminishing faith in institutions? Sofia Verani of Oakland Technical High School in California interviewed 3 young elected officials who won their first elections in November.
19-year-old Tony Labranche is an incoming member of the New Hampshire State House of Representatives. His interest in public service began in the hospital when he was 10.
I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. The hospital bills in the $400,000 range. My family went into debt and we struggled for a while. Seeing how unjust and exploitive the American healthcare system is has driven me to be a public servant and why I wanted to run for office.
Lebranche's first step into political life was when he ran for school board to help fix local schools.
We have leaky ceilings. Most classrooms do not have heating in the winter. I lost by about 245 votes.
Lebranche had better luck in November 2020 when he was elected as one of 3 Democrats in Amherst to win a seat in the state legislature.
Do you think there's pressure being a young person in politics? Because I feel like there's always been that kind of message of oh, the next generation is gonna fix all of America's problems.
I think that more people of my generation should be running for office. We actually need to be participating in the political process if we really do want to solve the issues. Our public university system in New Hampshire is unaffordable. So that is one of my priorities. And another priority is to reduce the inequality in public schools.
Is it weird for people to call you Representative Tony Labranche?
It still is a shock to me that I was even elected. I personally prefer being called Tony, but it's an honor to be a representative.
28-year-old Republican Kristin O'Shea is the youngest woman ever elected to the Kansas State Senate.
How do you think your parents' church and volunteering work inspired you to run for office?
I think it was a way of life. On the weekends, bring branches to the powwow site, and with Mom, we would go to quilters with the little ladies and tie quilts for Lutheran World Relief, but also helping make sure, the treasury budgets were working.
Why did the COVID-19 pandemic make you want to run for office?
The shutdowns really drastically affected small business negatively. The inconsistencies between a big business and a small business weren't great. Every time I would see the pictures of an elderly person behind a screen talking to their loved ones because they couldn't go into a nursing home, my heart would just break. I stayed out of politics, but I think if good people aren't running for office, making those decisions that affect everyone's lives, then who is?
Do you have a message for young women looking to go into public service?
Women tend to think we have to know everything before we can take the step to do it. All the little steps throughout my life of being involved and being in leadership all leads up to public service. You're ready for it even when you don't think you are.
26-year-old Democrat Abraham Aiyash won a seat in the Michigan House of Representatives.
I'm in this position, unfortunately, because my state representative and political mentor, Isaac Robinson, passed away in late March from suspected COVID. First time I met him when I was just 13 working on the Barack Obama campaign. He says, I'm your Jewish, Irish, Catholic brother from the hood. I was re-inspired by the 2016 election and saw a call to service, especially after my uncle was killed by an airstrike in Yemen. Just days before the initial travel ban was signed. That sort of reminded me that it wasn't enough to simply have the right values, but there was a need to step in and fight and engage in that process. As a child of immigrants, as a Muslim, as someone who grew up in an intersectional community that was largely Black and brown and working class and poor, that I bring that lens into the legislature. They say Isaac had big shoes to fill. Quite literally, he's a size 14. But I'm about a size 11, so I hope I can come close to continuing the fight.